When we decided we were going to try to make my designs into glass ornaments, we knew it was going to be tricky. My designs, my drawings are usually very detailed and not particularly conducive to making this kind of an ornament. Attempts in the past had been made to make my designs into glass ornaments, but resin elements were used and various kinds of plastic in order to get the detail that is really inherent in my designs. But this isn't what we wanted to do this time. I wanted to use the traditional glass method that's been used for centuries in Poland. So this was going to be mouth-blown, hand-painted glass, just glass, no plastic involved. At first, most of the people said, this is impossible. It can't be done. But we did manage to find some artists who thought very creatively about new ways to mold the glass and make several different molds in order to make one ornament work and to get the personality and the postures that we were looking for to make these unique glass ornaments. In our first line of glass, there were two designs that would work in the traditional fashion of using one mold for an entire ornament. But in most cases, we had to use multiple molds. In some cases, we used 8 to 10 different molds. I have an example here. This is our turtle dove ornament, and this particular one has 10 pieces to it. 10 different molds are made. These wings on the head of the turtle dove each are individual molds. So that's 1 and 2. The head is an individual mold. Each wing is an individual mold. Each one of his feet is molded separately. And then his body, which is obviously a much bigger mold and includes the wreath around his neck, completes the whole piece. So in this case, these tiny little molds made up part of the design, and then this big one. Each requires a different shape mold. And in some cases, instead of a clamshell, which is normally used, we had to create, or the artist had to create, molds that opened up almost like a flower with 3 or 4 moving parts that would close in order to create the shape we were looking for. So all of this required specific talents and new thinking in terms of blowing glass. So what happened was they had my drawings to work with, and they made sculptures from my drawings out of clay. And then from that point, they made the various molds out of metal. What happens is the artist takes a long cylindrical tube of glass, and he has a blowtorch, and he sits at a bench in front of the metal mold, and the mold has a mechanism that he can move with his knee to open and close the mold. So he sits in front of that mold holding the tube of glass with a great big blowtorch, and he heats that glass up until it starts to get soft and malleable and forms a bubble, and that's called an olive. And he has to be thinking about what size mold that's going to be in order to make the shape of his olive fit the particular mold he's about to use. So he heats up the glass, and when it's the perfect shape and the perfect flexibility, he quickly lies it into the mold, closes the mold with his knees rapidly, and blows the perfect amount of pressure, a different amount of pressure depending on what size and shape and how much detail is involved in that mold. It's a lot to think about for the glass blower when he's doing it. That happens in a split second, and then he opens up the mold, and you see this perfect thin glass shape that he's made. And he immediately tempers it again with the blowtorch. This strengthens the thin glass and makes it a little less fragile. So after the glass is tempered, it's allowed to cool down. And this long glass tube that it was originally blown from is left on, and it acts like a handle. And once the glass is cooled down, we need to make this clear glass have a basis for the painting. And what's going to happen is silver nitrate is going to be added. The components go in through the tube. It's coated on the inside and shaken up. And that coats the silver on the inside of the glass form. That components and the glass are put into a warm water bath, and that makes the silver actually adhere to the glass. That gives it that beautiful silver reflective quality and allows you to have a foundation for the painting and the glitter so you don't see through the glass. So once the silver nitrate has a chance to dry, the pieces are ready for painting. And for me, this was the fun part. I don't know if it was so much fun for my painters because I'm very particular about color. And there are so many colors to choose from in glass. And I liked some really unique and different combinations. This is one of our Magi Kings, and he has the most beautiful translucent red cape. That color I think is amazing. And then there's some opaque gold and glitter put on top of that. There's several color greens. There's a green translucent pearlized paint, and then there's two different colors of green glitter, one kind on the stripe and one in that little area. And he has little notes on this pearlescent gold shawl because these kings were derived from the Christmas carol, "We Three Kings of Orient Are." I'm going to just show you Violetta because her color is pretty spectacular. And you have to remember that each color has to dry. This beautiful red on her shoes, and then the green paint with then the green glitter, orange circle there, white, and then her beautiful body is a pearlescent lavender or violet, and that dries. It's a transparent pearlescent color, and then an opaque white polka dot, and then glitter white on top of that. Her ears are a different kind of a color. Those are a transparent lavender instead of this pearlescent color. You may know that we put a special stamp in every one of our resin ornaments that has my initials on it, PB, and the year it's made. We couldn't do that with these, so we added a little metal tag here, which will hang from each one of your Patience Brewster glass ornaments. While I was in Poland working on the ornaments, of course, the all-important packaging came up. And it was something I hadn't actually thought of. So using the materials that I had there, which was paint and glitter and a little bit of cardboard, came up with a different kind of a box design for our glass ornaments. And I really love it. It matches the ornaments, and then it has a little hand-painted design on it with a snowflake and a star, and it says right on the box that it's handmade in Poland. So this is my little tribute to all the many people who work on all of our products, and the glass is no exception. We have incredible people involved from the start to the finish. No machines, once again, involved in our glass ornaments. So I just want to draw great attention and thanks to the glass blowers and to the painters and even to the packagers that are so careful with all our pieces.